So it's finally 2021, and that means that everyone is going to be doing their New Year's resolution videos on YouTube. And I thought that today I'd tackle one of the most popular New Year's resolutions, reading more in the new year. Now, personally, I made this resolution last year, and I think I did pretty well with it. So here are some of my tips on how to read more in 2021. I tried to make sure that the tips in this video were one, practical, and two, actually kind of useful, and not like pick up a book, because honestly that's kind of obvious. So the tips in this video are focusing on how and where do you get your books, how do you keep under budget, and three, and most importantly, how do you keep yourself accountable so that by the end of this year you hopefully achieve your goal of reading more books than you did last year. So without further ado, let's get started. Number one, I think it's the best tip that I've personally received on how to read more books. It's basically you get a Goodreads account. So if you don't know yet, Goodreads is this app or this website where you can list your books to be read, and you can check reviews on books, and you can also follow people, so like you can see what they are reading and you can get some ideas and inspiration from there. The feature that I mainly used it for was that you can set a book challenge for yourself for the year. So for example, last year in 2020, my goal was to read more books than I had the year before, and for me that number was 30. So I set my book reading challenge to 30 books in that year, and then I just increased the number when I got close to finishing that challenge. So I kept challenging myself constantly. And I think with Goodreads, you can keep yourself accountable, because every time you finish a book, you like set it, I don't know, you change the status of that book so that Goodreads counts it towards your reading challenge. And also Goodreads helps you keep track or set a schedule for like how many books you should have read up to that point. This is kind of hard to explain, but basically under your progress bar on your book reading challenge, there's this like little bit of text that says, for example, 2 books behind schedule or 2 books ahead of schedule. So you get a little motivation every time you log onto Goodreads to keep up with your reading challenge. Another reason why I like Goodreads is that you can set yourself a to be read list. So every time you hear a book recommendation, you can just add it to your to be read list. And so when it comes time for you to pick a new book to read, you cannot use the excuse of, oh, I don't know what I should read next, or I have nothing to read now. So yeah, keeping yourself accountable, I think the best thing is to get a Goodreads account. My second tip is that you should make use of free resources, because there are a lot of free resources both online and in your community. So in this video, I'm going to list out some of the best free resources that I think you should take advantage of. I sound like a motivational speaker, but please, no. Number one on that list is definitely the libraries. Please make use of your libraries. First of all, the books are free. They're free. And second of all, many libraries nowadays have the option of borrowing ebooks or audiobooks online through an app. So for me, my library uses the app Libby, so that's Libby, and you just go into the Libby app and you can browse through the library's online catalog and borrow anything you like. So that's quite convenient, because then you can borrow free audiobooks and free ebooks, and you can read on the go, and you don't have to bring like heavy books with you everywhere you go. What I did last year was that I made it a point to visit the library or borrow something from the library once a month. So this way, every month I had something to read, and I could easily keep up with my reading more in 2020 challenge. Number two is Project Gutenberg. So if you don't know, Project Gutenberg is this website where you can access like millions of free ebooks. So I like Project Gutenberg because you get to download as many like free ebooks as you want, and you don't need to register or sign up or anything. So personally, I volunteer with Project Gutenberg, so I help transcribe and proofread their ebooks before it gets put on the site. So if you're trying to find a way to like get in some volunteer hours too, Project Gutenberg is a great choice. Number 3 is to subscribe to free newsletters from newspaper publications. So if I'm not wrong, the New York Times does a daily briefing newsletter. So basically, the New York Times, they assemble like all the top stories of the day for you to read in like 2 minutes while you're having your breakfast or something. So I like this because it helps me get reading. Like every single day I have something to read, and also it's free. So if you're interested in doing this, you could just do a quick Google search, and I'm quite sure a lot of different publications will come up. My third tip is secondhand bookshops. I very recently got into secondhand bookshops, and I haven't actually been to a physical secondhand bookshop. Maybe I have, but that was like 10 years ago. Anyway, so secondhand bookshops are a great way to get like books at a lower price, and you don't have to go to physical secondhand bookshops because there are quite a few options online. So for example, if you live in Singapore, there's this website called Thrift. So that's THRYFT, and Thrift is doing a virtual, no, not a virtual, and Thrift is doing a secondhand book fair this year, and I think they might be doing more in the future, so definitely look out for those. So I like the idea of buying books secondhand because one, they're much cheaper than new books in bookshops, and a lot of them are actually quite good quality. And two, you get to see how well loved a book has been. I think this might be kind of weird, but I personally really like my books to have like stories attached to them. So for example, let me turn around and look for a book. Let me see. Ah, so here. Okay, so for example, my box set of the 101 Dalmatians, I got this on my 10th birthday. So that's the story of this box set for me. And I think it's pretty cool to own something that was once loved by someone else. So if you're into thrifting clothes too, I think you'd get this because everything has a story attached to it, even books. So check out your secondhand bookshops and you might find some pretty good deals and some pretty interesting books. Some secondhand bookshops also allow you to trade in your books in exchange for new ones, and the libraries also do this where I live. So if you're going to be doing any spring cleaning this new year and you have some books that you don't really read anymore, do consider trading them into a library or a secondhand bookshop. My fourth tip is to join an online book club. So I know that last year and this year, book clubs, like physical book clubs, might not be very feasible unless you're doing them with people that you see on a regular basis. So last year I joined 2 virtual book clubs. So the first one was a virtual book club held on BookTube. So it was a few booktubers who came together to organize like monthly book club meetings. So I'll link those videos in the description below. And the second book club I joined is called Ballerina Book Club. So Ballerina Book Club is not just for ballerinas, but it was started by the American Ballet Theatre's principal dancer Isabella Borston. And so every month she sends like emails to you or like newsletters to you, updating you on her progress on the book of the month. And at the end of the month, she discusses that book with either the author or someone else on YouTube. So I think that's pretty cool. And what I like about book clubs is that you find yourself in a community of people who are all reading the same book and who are all sharing the same experiences as you. And I think that's pretty cool. My fifth tip is one of the more important tips in this videos, and that is read books you actually want to read and not books you think you should read. So everyone knows that there are a few books that people consider highbrow literature, quote unquote, and everyone feels pressured to read them, so like The Great Gatsby or To Kill a Mockingbird. But if you yourself don't feel interested in reading those books, don't pressure yourself and don't force yourself to read them, because then you'll just get disheartened and you might give up on the book. And I don't know, I guess for me, reading is all about enjoyment because it is a leisure activity. And so I feel like you should enjoy the things that you are reading. Carrying on from that, my sixth tip is to get onto a series you like. So for example, one of the first big series that I really enjoyed as a kid was the Harry Potter series. And I think getting into a series that you really enjoy makes you more emotionally invested in completing that series and thus you read more. So that is one of my tips for reading more. It's to get into a series that you really enjoy and thus want to complete. And lastly, my seventh tip is not really like a very serious tip, but I think that you shouldn't shy away from reading children's books. Not like picture books or like those like cardboard books, but like children's books like Roald Dahl's books. I honestly think make for quite short and enjoyable reads, even if the target audience of those books are children. So that's all the tips I have for reading more in 2021, and good luck to you in completing your New Year's resolution. If you'd like to follow me on Goodreads, I'll leave the link to my profile in the description below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye!